What up, YouTube? What's good? I feel like I got something on my mouth. Every time I start using this new mouthwash, yeah, that pasty feeling. Anyway, what up, YouTube? Oh my God. I know some of you guys that are subscribed attended the meet and greet, came out to the meet and greet, brought tickets, showed out. I had such an amazing time. I'm gonna talk about it more in the pod. I just have to say a special thank you to y'all, my subscribers on YouTube. I greatly appreciate you guys, sharing and being more involved in the family. You know what I'm saying? Like, we litty, we turned up. So if you haven't subscribed already, but you don't watch more than one video, or if this your first time coming on, this your first video you watching, still subscribe because you don't want to miss the content. Okay? All right, hit that subscribe button, share, tell a friend. And if you follow us on Instagram, you can see the episodes also broken down into clips. And we're on Instagram, we're on Fanbase, we're on TikTok, and it's all at the Crew Book Club. We also just launched our website, and it's thecrewbookclub.com. You can also get additional videos on there that are exclusively for the website. We got merchandise coming to there soon, the Crew Book Club. And in the back, it reads, let me turn around for you. Who gonna check me, boo? God is, hey. Because he is always checking us. So we got that going on. I got some bookmarks that's going to be coming up for sale. If you attended the meet and greet, you got first access. So that's what happens when you come. You get first access to the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super uber excited that all of these things are happening. And I just cannot wait to our next event, which I'm going to talk about that more on the pod, so I won't be repetitive with y'all. But this week was kind of rough. Like, after coming off of such a high, I ran into an issue where I kind of got double crossed by a client and a company that I was working with, and I lost a buyer. And I just, yeah, and it hit. It was money that was left on the table. I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I was loyal to a fault to someone that I felt like I had established a relationship with, and they didn't even fight for me. And at first, I was getting like really upset, and I was like, okay, Sade, trust and know whatever God said no to, it's a reason why it didn't happen or whatever. You just be thankful that of the things that are happening. You learned your lesson from working with certain people, and you just keep it moving. And that's all we can do, is to keep it moving. Even when the bad things happen, there's a reason, there's a rhyme or reason to it. You will never know why. There's a lesson in it. And the lesson that I learned, you can't be loyal to everybody. And it's so, once it happens the first time, recognize it, keep it moving. You know, things are going to happen. You're not going to always get the deal. Deals fall through. People will cross you. And it's the nature of the business. People are out for self. And I just pray God send the people that are for me, and he gives me discernment of the people who are not for me, and we just keep it pushing. And all I can say is, it's going to come back. It'll come back. It'll all come back. And let me tell you something. I'm the wrong one to play with. Okay? And I remember her saying, like, oh, I thought you were so nice. It's a difference between being nice about my business. I didn't cuss at you. I don't demean you. But I will check you if you are wrong. Okay? And what I can't stand is people don't take accountability. Like, if you effed up, just be like, you know what? I dropped the ball. I should have had you do this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? But lesson learned. Keep it moving. I won't be working with that person anymore. They can bet that. And that's it. And I said, vengeance is not mine. It is God. And I'm going to just leave it up to God. I'm not going to badmouth. I'm not going to do none of that. I stated facts, and that's it. And I keep it moving. But all is well. And there was a low key side of me that was like, oh, I hope you lose all your deals. And that flesh side of me started to emerge. And I was just like, nope, you wish that person the best. Okay? God will take care of whatever. So whatever I lost, I will get back tenfold. Okay? And that's what I'm gonna trust and lean into. So enough about me yakking to y'all. I'm not gonna talk about this on the pod. At least I think I'm not in this depth. We just gonna get into it. I'm gonna leave the meet and greet stuff for the podcast. So let's just get into recording. What up, crew? What's good? Welcome to another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. Yes! This is the first episode coming off of the meet and greet that happened November 5th. So I'm still on a high from that. Like, super turned. I cannot wait till our next events, which is already up and ready to go. But before we even get into all of that, how are you guys really feeling? How are you feeling today in this moment, listening to this podcast right now? How are you feeling? And I want you to keep it real with yourself so you can feel your feels, okay? And then we can keep it pushing to get past those. We can recognize our feelings, feel it for a little bit, and keep it pushing, right? I hope you're feeling good. If you are, keep that same energy. And if not, after listening to this pod, that you're going to be ready to let God guide. All right, because we had learned that in our last episode to let him do his thing, and we need to move out of the way. And I hope you took heed to that, practicing that last week and letting God guide. Okay, because the test came from me where I had to let God guide, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take my hands off of it and I'm gonna let you handle it. And he handles it every time. He might not handle it when we want it to be handled, but he gonna handle it. Okay, so we just gonna trust in him to handle it. Now, the thing is, you have to do the things that allow you to pull yourself out of the rut and listening to this podcast, listening to music that brings the best out of you, that motivates you, reading the right books, hanging around the right people, even if you got to block some people. Get off of social media for the day just to recalibrate your mind. Write, journal, whatever you need to do to get yourself in a better mood. Do that. And do those things also to be preventative, to prepare yourself for the day. Like, if you find a routine that works for you to prepare you for the day, do those things first thing in the morning so you can be ready for the whatever comes your way. All right? Preventative actions. Yes, I love it. Now, I ain't gonna talk your head off too much in the beginning because I definitely want to get into the episode. But before we even get into that, let me thank you for everyone who came out and showed out, contributed, donated to the Crew Book Club podcast first event. The meet and greet was an absolute blast. I hope you saw the clips on our social medias of the event. We had so much fun. It was just absolutely amazing. The energy was right. The food was right. The drinks was right. The vibe was right. I cannot wait to do it again. You guys just don't know how grateful and thankful I am for you all. And I hope to see you all a lot more. For the people who did not come, you missed out. Okay? You can definitely join. We have our private Facebook group now. So I'll be dropping tidbits in there that I won't be dropping anywhere else. You guys can come and share your experiences, your aha moments, not just about the meet and greet, but anything. We're here to help each other. And with the private group, I will be monitoring who joins. And if your vibe not right, you will be exited out of the group. This is a space of growth, elevation, and positivity, of gathering together to support each other. And if you're not on that, don't join the group. So definitely check out our Facebook group, the Crew Book Club group, and it is private. I have to accept you. This is not a place to overly promote yourself, but to be there and for you to get access to what's happening in the crew, but to also share things that help you. All right. So that, and also the website launch, thecrewbookclub.com. That is where you can get all the podcast episodes as well. That's another opportunity for you to see events that are happening. Merch is coming. You can shop merch on the website. That is coming soon, as well as see what events are coming. And also, I do exclusive content on the website, so you can definitely check that out. Definitely subscribe so you can get all the deets of what's happening, how to have access to the crew. Y'all, it's only up from here. The next event we have coming is the Mastermind. The Mastermind is December 3rd right here in Jacksonville. It's going to be the same location that the meet and greet was at. You can get your tickets on eventbrite.com. The Crew Book Club. It is the Mastermind. We're going to be tapping into I'm going to be literally sharing, worksheets, programs, and things that I actually do and follow to prepare myself for the year. And it's going to be so good. I'm trying to tell you. I don't want to spoil too much because I really, really want you to be like, and have those moments. But we're going to be strategic. This year of 2023 is about being intentional about everything that we do. That's our theme this year. Be intentional. It's all about intention. And I'm going to help you break down your goals. That way they're attainable and where you can make them and feel good about the destination. Because this is not like a destination where you arrive somewhere and it stops. This is a journey. It's a continuing thing. And a lot of times we get stuck in that going from A to Z, 0 to 100 real quick, when we need to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and up. And then from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, K, to get to Z. So I want to help you do that. All right. So click the Eventbrite link. It is only $35. It's $35. I mean, if you can invest in yourself for $35, I don't know. I don't know. We spend that on one meal. Okay. So let's get together, focus on our spiritual, our mental, our financial, and our personal goals, because I feel like we need all those things to be whole. And I want to be able to help you that. Proven things that I have done to help me get to where I am at. I told y'all I would never recommend something that I am not doing my darn self. All right. So let's get into the episode. Woo, woo. I know you're telling me like, Sade, come on, girl. Get to the juice. All right. So let's talk about our favorite segment. Well, mine. Who Gon Check Me Boo? He is always checking us because we deserve a good old check. Yeah, so this check comes from Prayers and Promises for a Woman. This book was given to me in 2019, and I literally picked it up again to reread it to see where my headspace was currently. And on page 14 through 15, it talks about boldness. And typically it gives you 4 scriptures that is connected to the word that they're focused on. And this particular scripture checked me when I was reading it. It was Psalms 138 verse 3, and it reads, "On the day I called you, you answered me. You made me strong and brave." And I was just like, he does every time. God do it every time. Every time I ask him of something, he just allows me to be more strong and brave in my corner. He doesn't never not answer when I need him to answer, when when I need to hear from me. Because he has this thing where it's just like, people are like, well, I don't hear God. He ain't saying nothing. And sometimes he already said it and you're asking him the same thing he already gave you an answer to. But he never not answer. We just have to be willing to accept. And so it was like, yes, you made me strong and brave. And in the passage, it reads, Creator God, what is beyond your capability? What task are you unqualified for? When I feel overwhelmed and incapable, help me remember I don't need to panic. We are in this together, and your awesomeness more than makes up for my shortcomings. When I lack confidence, let me find it in you. Infuse me with your ability to be bold. If this work I do is for you, I cannot fail. Whew. let me tell y'all, I was struggling about this event mentally. Like, I can do this, you can do this, what are you doing? Yada, yada, yada. And then to go back and read this, it was just like, whatever confidence I was lacking before I started speaking, he just came in and made me strong and brave. And I appreciate that, because it was in his will for me to do what I needed to do. And he gave me all the power to do that. And I could not fail. And that was like, yes. And the prompt question was, why is it sometimes hard to be bold? Back in 2019, I put, I'm scared of failure, but then I realized I'm failing without trying. This year, 2022, I put, because we are not totally relying on trusting in God. Once I do that, then within you, I become bold. So when I struggle with being bold, it's because I'm not relying on God. I'm relying on my own strength when I need to be relying on his. So I have to constantly remind myself, God, give me the strength to be strong and brave, because I am doing your will. And if I'm not doing your will, allow me to retreat and block what is not. So that was the Who Gon Check Me Boo moment. He is always checking us. So I appreciate those checks by him. Get in tune with him so he can check you too. All right. So as always, y'all have been showing Mad Crew love, sharing, reposting. Continue to share the podcast. Subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on social. But also be active. Write some written reviews. Drop some 5-star reviews as well where you can. And remember to get your tickets to the mastermind. The link is in the bio for that. And visit and subscribe to our website. I would really appreciate the crew love. Loving the crew, okay? Let's get into chapter 11. Woo, we going in chapter 11 and 12, okay? The titles, chapter 11 talks about fear is food poisoning, but regret is herpes. I love her titles. Chapter 12 covers, I may not win, but I always win. I remember doing a post about that. I said, I don't know when, but I know I will win. Okay? Catch that. All right. So on chapter 11, it already jumps out. It says, fear sucks. And while it seems crippling in the moment, it really just you having anxiety over something that hasn't happened yet. And 95% of the time, that something will never happen. I've heard fear described as false evidence appearing real. That is so true. It also says, that's what fear is. It holds you hostage, clouds your judgment, and cop blocks your progress. Won't fear do that? Fear be trying it. But we rely on God. So this is what she says. You resent anyone. This is also what fear does. It allows you to resent anyone living out their wildest dreams while you're still stuck, paralyzed by excuse, logic, risk assessments, and anything else you use to convince yourself not to beat on yourself. You know, it says, I hate regret more than I hate fear. Oh my goodness, fear will do this to you. It will have you hating on people that's doing what they need to be doing, and let alone you don't even realize it. They got fear too. The difference between them and the people who be hating is they just push through. We keep it peep. We keep it pushing. Regardless of how scared we are, we do it anyway. So you got to stop paralyzing yourself with excuses and things that supposed to make sense, because sometimes it won't. And you have to take the risk, okay? And convince yourself to bet on yourself, all right? You got this. We got this. We are all we need, and we have all what is in our hands. God has provided us with everything. We just got to do the work. On page 124, it says here, in which I had these thoughts about the meet and greet and about the mastermind that's coming up. She had these thoughts when she was doing her things in Comedy Live. It says, I guess you're not as popular as you thought you were. You're not going to be able to post a sold out flyer on the gram now. Everyone would know that the show didn't do well. I don't know why you thought you could even do this. I had thoughts like that. At one point, ticket sales was kind of stagnant, and I was like, oh, Lord, and my mind started to play tricks on me and make me feel insecure, and I went into panic mode. And she says here, most fears are birthed from our own insecurities. They prey on our weaknesses and feast on the lies we tell ourselves. Oh, well, you ever been there where you're constantly telling yourself something that you can't do, knowing that God told you you can? It's like we have to lean on that boldness that we just talked about when we're pushing forward in the things that we fear. She says also here on page 125, no matter what their intentions were, God always intended for me to succeed. So no matter what nobody say, God's intentions is for you to succeed if it's in his will. Only his vision of success looked daunting and intimidating, and I initially wanted no part of it. This is so true. Lord will give you. That's why I be having to tell God, and this is to you as an individual, God will give you enough for you. Okay? And he knows how much to tell you or how much you can handle so you continue to go. Because if we saw what we wanted and we saw that vision, we might get timid and scared and not do it. So he gives you just enough to push and move forward. She says here also on page 125, she says, it's crazy to think that all these moments were activated by leaning into a let's just try it. Can you imagine the deep levels of regret I would have right now if I never did? I can't, and I honestly don't want to. Woo, that is so true. There's times where I'd be like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't think I'm ready for that. But then you just try and do it anyway. You won't know what you can do until you try it. Okay? And I think we were talking about that on the last episode about having that maybe faith. Maybe it's not going to be like this. Maybe it'll turn out this way. Maybe. Sometimes you have to move on that sense. You know what I'm saying? But you won't know until you try. All right? So you got to keep pushing forward. And this is where I was talking about this with some other realtors of mine about the fear of success. Like sometimes we won't even do something because we fear if it's so successful that it can intimidate us. And it's just like, that's that imposter syndrome keep creeping in. And she touched on that on page 126. She says, the people who tend to suffer from imposter syndrome are extremely high achievers. We set the bar so high in our lives, but are constantly afraid of not being enough, while also adapting ridiculous patterns of downplaying our accomplishments. Make it make sense, Jesus. Woo! She says, there's so many things about material, about becoming successful and all of those things. Work hard, boss up, but it's not enough material on how to handle stress of success. And let me tell you, after the success of the meet and greet, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to step it up for the mastermind. Can I really do this? What I'm going to do? And it says here, what happens when you work so hard to attain a goal and actually get it, but suddenly start to wonder if you're good enough to sustain it? Ooh, I'm going to look for more books like that, because I think a lot of us are successful in our own right. And then we have a hard time processing it and leaning into that imposter syndrome, when in actuality we should be leaning on our boldness, because this is what we are destined to do. She says, as Brene Brown would say, the story I was telling myself was that I fooled everyone into believing I was good. And no, baby, we're not fooling anybody. We're just trusting the process and moving forward to accomplish the goals and tasks that God has allowed us to accomplish and he's requested us to do. So we're going to stand firm in our success, and we're not going to downplay our life for anybody. Okay? We can't. That's a damn problem. If they can't help your success and what you're doing and you making them uncomfortable, that is not a you problem. Do you, boo, and let them do them and let God handle them. Okay? Okay? All right. So that was chapter 11, and I'm going to just end it on here like she did. I'm going to say this on page 128. It is time to make your thoughts think twice about messing with you. Okay? That's how scared your fear should be of your faith. And that's low-key the only cure for regrets. Okay? Make your thoughts think twice about messing with you. Because I'll be quick to tell somebody, I'm not the one to play with. But you got to be quick to tell, we have to be quick to tell our brain and our thoughts, don't play with me. Don't get in my head. This is not going to work. I do that constantly when I find myself getting to that, like, oh, Sade, can you really do this? Like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God, people are looking up to you. Like, you gotta kill it. And it's just like, girl, it ain't I gotta kill it. I need to lean on God so he can help me kill it. All right, so that was chapter 11. Fear is food poisoning, but regret is herpes. I'm gonna let you dissect that, okay? All right, that was part 2. So we're gonna get into part 3, start those chapters, and that is called the breakthrough. Oh, I love having a breakthrough. All right, in chapter 12, it says, I may not win, but I always win. All right. On page 131, it says, obviously, as an adult, I'm aware that losing is part of the game. It doesn't make me like it any better, but I've learned not to see my L's as defeats. They're just possibilities waiting. God is so funny because I just took a L with a buyer on the premise of a relationship that I was loyal to at a new construction site. And the person that I was work with, closed several deals with, didn't even want to fight for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this L, but lesson learned not to work with you. And I had to look at the lesson of it all. Like, you can't trust everybody, and everybody's not for you, and people are for self when it pertains to them. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother story. But yeah, God, I'm happy this was represented to me again, reading this chapter. And she also says on page 131, that's why I concluded that although I may not win, I always win. Okay. She says here on page 133, y'all know about the one day quote. One day it'll be my turn. One day I'll make it too. One day it'll be my name called. While it may sound like an empty, pathic pep talk, that's actually scripture. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 encourage us not to allow ourselves to get fatigued by doing what we know to do, because one day, at the right time, it will all pay off as long as we don't give up. I know it gets hard to put your best foot forward only to remain sidelined, but don't get tired. There is a win with your name on it. And when it finally shows up, God will sweeten the deal. He always does. God's plan is always sweeter and better than ours, okay? It says here, sometimes it takes hindsight to see losses as wins. It's not until all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place that all those hoops you had to jump through finally began making sense. God declares a win. God declares a win. Not us. God does. He's not stingy with it. It applies to anyone who has the faith to believe in it for themselves. No one else can believe in you like you can. No one else can believe in God for you. Okay? You have to do that for yourself. Okay? It says also on page 139, it says, nobody but God. He uses everything you are to get to your wins, and everything you are has been shaped by every loss you've experienced. Inevitably, what constitutes a win for you will look vastly different than what counts as a win for me. So there's no need to compare trophies, okay? The good book says, in a race all runners run, okay? Run in which a way as to get to the prize. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. Your prize could be making it to see another day, or not cussing out that coworker who stays testing you. That counts, fam. You're crushing it. So celebrate your wins no matter how big or how small they may seem. I always say that when it comes to anything. When I talk to my people about buying a house, it's a win when you call a realtor to talk about this. It's a win when you call a lender to talk about your finances. It's a win when you turn in your paperwork. You have to celebrate those small wins because they're going to help the big wins seem even sweeter, and it shows God that you're grateful for the small things. So the fact that you can wake up and love on your kids and not curse them out every morning to get ready, or the fact that you were able to wake up 5 minutes early to pray, even if it's just 5 minutes with God, like maximize on the wins, honey. You're winning regardless of how big or small it is, okay? Stop looking at everybody else and comparing those wins, because trust me, they had to start somewhere. All right? Also on page 139, she says, I hope you fail better. I really do. If you allow them to, some of your hardest failures will produce better wins than some of your easiest victories. So cheers to the setbacks. Raise a glass to the defeats that may have taken you down, but they'll never take you out. Okay? Get back up and start running again. The race has been rigged. The fight has been fixed. And the outcome is you win. And I put here, no matter what, we will win. Make that personal. No matter what, I will win. You can put your name on it. No matter what, will win. And I'm going to put my name on it. No matter what, Sade will win. Don't play with us, okay? So I hope you go out and fail better, like she says, y'all, because we gon', even if we fail, y'all, we gon', what's the song by Leah? Dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again. Hey, because if the first you don't succeed, hey, I'm gonna have to play that. That's a theme song this week. Oh, that's the title of the episode. Dust yourself off and try again, honey. All right? So that was chapter 11 and chapter 12. And you already know we be on and popping with the challenge of the week. I got to give it to you. You ready? You ready, girl? All right. The challenge of the week is to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Okay? And don't overthink it. I want you to do something that's making you uncomfortable, whether it's posting a video on social media, whether it's talking to someone about your dreams and aspirations, whether it's whatever it is that you think making you uncomfortable, do it. I want you to do it, okay? Allow God to push you out of your comfort zone. Because a lot of times God will give us a task that makes us uncomfortable, but we give him pushback. Don't push back this week. Don't resist it, okay? Fight it and just do it, okay? Risking it is far better than regretting it, like she says. And on page 125, I have to quote this. When God is pushing you out of your comfort zone and you're tempted to resist, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if I go for it? When we think about what's the worst that can happen, don't think about that aspect. Think about, I'm going to just go for it. What, they going to say no? What, it's not going to go through? So what? At least we dust ourselves off and tried. All right? All right. Because once you try something and fail, at least you can know how to make it better. Just don't give up. All right? So that was the challenge of the week. Do something uncomfortable and don't resist it. Just fight it and just do it. All right? Let's get into what would the crew do? Ask advice. And this question was sent to me via email to thecrewbookclub@gmail.com. But you can also DM them on our social media platforms, Fanbase Instagram, to ask advice. And I will answer them right here on the podcast, because we don't know who we could be helping when we ask these questions. And if I say something that y'all like, Shadi, I would have did it different, tell me so I can share it. And that's what we can do in the Facebook group as well. So join that too. It says here, I opened a business with my friend, but she doesn't put in the same work as I do. I want to dissolve the relationship as a business partner, but not the friendship. How should I go about that? All right. So this can be really sticky because she might feel the same way about you. I think sometimes people forget what other people are doing behind the scenes. And I just want to say this, like, before you have that conversation, let's make sure you guys are on the same page. Maybe, I don't know how long you guys have been in business. I don't know what you're producing or the details. But sometimes if you have a partnership or just like in any relationship, if you don't revisit the goals or the plan, people can get sidetracked. Motivation can be lost if it's not if you're not revisiting a plan and making sure you're on track? Are you guys communicating properly, having monthly meetings to make sure you're sticking to the goal? Are you just taking on the task and don't want her to do it, and she like, okay, well, she gonna do it anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, really dive in to see why and where her headspace is at, so that way you guys can be on the same page. You know, writing things down and saying, you're responsible for this, you're responsible for that, and communicating that. That way you won't feel so overwhelmed about what needs to be done. And when you have an idea, you're communicating on how she can help be a part. So before you have that conversation, that's what I would do. Revisit the plan and make sure you guys are on the same page before you dissolve the business side, because you need people. You need a right-hand person. You need help. And before you dissolve a relationship, communicate and make sure you guys are on the same page and go from there. Now, you're probably like, well, I already did all that. Try this, because I've heard of this happening with business partners. Before you resolve, go to therapy. I've heard of friendships that are in business together go to therapy together, because you probably need that third party. Because a business relationship is like a marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's a relationship that's directly connected to your finances. You have to deal with each other regularly with all the emotions and things that go to running a business, making money, then your family things. So maybe therapy would be a good thing. And thank God we have a partnership that's a sponsor of our episodes, BetterHelp. You can go to betterhelp.com/crewlove. You guys can both get on Zoom together and make that part of your business planning for the week in a meeting, so you guys can have a better way of communicating, because we need each other. And I don't want to see another woman business dissolve because of lack of communication. So definitely try that. Betterhelp.com/crewlove, and you can get 10% off you guys' therapy. And try therapy with your friend before you dissolve. And if you try your best to do everything, oh, excuse me, she may want to resolve the relationship too and want the same thing, but don't communicate first. And then also let her know, like, it's no hard feelings. Like, let's rebuild our friendship and move on from there. And if there's money involved, resolve reasonably with the finances that's been involved and go from there. If she really your friend, y'all will figure it out. Okay? If y'all friendship end because the business relationship end, that's okay too, girl. You just got to keep it pushing. All right? So that was my advice for what would the crew do. All right? Join our Facebook group. Maybe you can give some more advice to what can be done to that. All right? So before we even get out of here, this was an amazing episode. I always have an amazing time with you all. Let's get into the quote of the week. The quote of the week comes from page 136 from our book, Bamboozled by Jesus, author Yvonne Orji. It says, even when it looks like you've lost, remind yourself that you always win. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Hey, got money on our mind, we ain't never give it up. Everybody hand go up. So we always win, crew. Thanks for hanging, and I will see you all right here next week on the Crew Book Club podcast. Hey, ow.